Today is Thursday, March 17th. It is 6:05. We have a quorum confirmation. We have 7 people here visiting in person, and I believe we have Dedamia, Luke, and Carrie attending online. We can go ahead and start with commission member introductions. We can go ahead and start with the 3 members online, and then we can start from the right of the room with Megan and head towards Dawn. I don't know if they heard me. We might have some background noise on one of your speakers online. What? Okay. Go ahead and do member introductions from folks that are here in person. So Megan, would you like to start?
Matt Caldy, Commissioner.
Mike Litwin, Commissioner.
Sam Armstrong, Commissioner, Chair.
David Parkhurst, Commissioner.
Don Eggert, Commissioner.
Ben Sherispia, Intern.
And then I want to check again, with the folks online, are you able to introduce yourself through Zoom? Yeah, okay. Dedamia, would you like to go ahead?
Dedamia Whitney, Chair, or Commissioner.
And then Luke, you can go ahead.
Hi, Luke, Commissioner.
And then Carrie.
All right, I'm Carrie Albright, and I'm a commissioner.
Great. So the next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from last month. We are still doing roll call vote in person, and then I believe the online folks, are they able to vote? Did you say that, Linda, or are online folks not voting? With the new hybrid rules. Okay. So then we'll go ahead with Megan.
Yay.
Matt?
Yes.
Mike? Yes. I vote yes. Dave?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Dedamia?
Yes.
Luke?
Yes.
Carrie? Carrie, did you have a vote?
Yes.
Great. So the next item on the agenda is public comment. I'll just give that a glance around the room. I don't think anybody is here in person for that. Do we have any online members who wanted to speak for the public comment?
There is no one online at this time.
Okay. So we can move on to our monthly reports. We will start with the Tree Commission.
This is one of those months when
Recording in progress.
the month started on a Tuesday. The Tree Commission is now meeting on third Mondays, and so this is the third Thursday, but it isn't, we haven't had the third Monday yet. So Tree Commission meets next week, and I have nothing to say.
Great. We'll move on to the Monroe County Environmental Commission. I spoke with Linda about that, and I don't believe that they met last month. And this month, I didn't get around to attending their meeting, but next month we'll have some information for them. So the next one is the Wilmington Commission on Sustainability.
They met last Tuesday. I think the big news, at least from thinking environmentally, was that two things. Lauren announced that the city is setting up akin to what we're proposing as far as the a Google response to what people are doing to help the city meet the climate needs, climate action plan. Also, they're launching a trial program with the downtown restaurants to reduce food waste. Again, third thing was that their Housing First meeting is coming up, I think, the 20th. I lost track of what day is, but it's probably on their website. I'll look it up and send an email on that one. Other than that, they voted and went through their usual meeting stuff. Other than that, that was the highlights of that meeting.
Thank you, Don. Next, we'll move on to the Environmental Resource Advisory Council.
Yeah, actually, one more thing about the Tree Commission. I think we're planning to meet at Switchyard Park, so that should be fun. ERAC meets every second month. We have a meeting coming up, but I've already reported on the last meeting, so.
Okay, great. The next one is the Metropolitan Planning Organizing Citizens Advisory Council. Okay, we don't have a report for that this month. Friends of Lake Monroe. And
We're not meeting actively at the moment.
okay. And then does anyone have a report from MC Iris?
MC Iris basically, again, is working on hard on preparing for their planned sale. A significant event is they're working with parks as far as putting out placards related to calorie repair. Also, we're going to have a billboard someplace located on one of the streets about calorie repair. We're getting materials for passing out in neighborhoods and neighborhood associations and some of the places that plants are sold. Again, related to this year's target plant being the calorie repair. And we're still trying to figure out how to come up with support for people of less means in addressing ways that might be able to help reduce the number of calorie repairs for people that don't have big bucks to remove them themselves, and also replacement trees and also the number of city calorie repairs on city properties is growing due to the invasive nature of the calorie repair. Then, and one other thing I want to bring up for the commissioners is that next month's first Saturday, weed wrangle with the MCRS and the City Parks Department will be in Lower Cascades, and that's really germane for our wildlife connectivity corridor project. So encourage, if you have the time, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Is it 3 hours? Yeah. I guess take that back, 1 to 4. And I don't quite sure yet, but which parking lot they're going to meet in. But I'll try to pass that word on to the commissioners when I learn where exactly we're going to meet. So that's the MC Iris news for the week, a month. Do you have anything?
We all good with? Cool.
It turns out I accidentally hit the panic button with my knee.
Oh.
I apologize about that.
Thank you for the update, Don. And then do we have, I don't think we have an update for the ECPC, do we?
No, not really, but I would like to say that I'd like to get the ECPC together in a meeting now that we can, and maybe that committee can, I think that a smaller group for me? Sorry. I would like the ECPC to meet so they can coalesce their ideas on how to move forward.
Okay.
With memos, that is.
I think that's.
Yes, Mike?
I think we're going to discuss this later anyway, but we talked about trying to initiate something on that, and we weren't sure what's happening with the Novak report on boards and commissions, so we didn't know if that was going to influence anything we would be doing. Is that,
Oh,
can you give us an update on that?
No, I think that the Novak report doesn't have anything to do with this at this point in time.
Okay.
Okay. So does anyone have any thoughts about getting the ECPC back together? Or should we talk about when's a good time to do that for people and who's interested in being on that?
Usually I arrange the meeting times, and it used to have to be regular times, but it's been rather discombobulated during the COVID. So I'll just reach out to the committee and see when everyone's available.
Okay, that sounds good. So that is it for our monthly reports. The next item on the agenda is discussions from the active working groups, and the first one is the biodiversity working group, getting an update on the connectivity plan.
So I don't really have any updates on the biodiversity working group at this time, so I can go into the EcoHero specifics if that's okay with everyone, unless anyone has any questions on the biodiversity working group. Great. Well, actually, I do have one quick update. I think I'll be giving a presentation to the council in the months of April or May. It's undetermined at the moment. Basically, the same presentation I gave a few months back on the habitat connectivity plan, but a date has not been finalized yet.
I'd like to make a comment on related to the corridor plan. Often when I'm working in Southeast Park, people stop and ask what we're doing, and one of the things I have been mentioning, explaining what MC Iris and the Park Department are trying to accomplish, and then I segue into bringing up that the EC is trying to establish the wildlife corridors and the importance of meeting the city's emissions reduction and protecting its green space. I point out that this is one of the things that will be potentially a segue, and also explaining how we're trying to get public participation, people to participate in the program. So I figured, outreach has got to start someplace. Okay.
Thanks, Don, for those comments. So in regards to Eco Heroes, all the materials have been sent out to all the teachers and educators. All the businesses should have received a letter by now. I've also sent out an email to about 60 businesses. So our way of hopefully getting some money is on its way. I think we received one donation from Wonder Lab a couple days ago. So that's pretty exciting, and hopefully we'll soon see more donations coming in quickly as we get closer and closer to April 8th. In regards to the brochure or the flyer that I sent out to different businesses, I also went to a few grocery stores, and they were not as welcoming to the idea of putting a flyer at their window as I was hoping. So they do not allow that for whatever reason, other than Blooming Foods did accept a bunch of mini flyers that they'll hopefully give out to the public as they see fit. And then other than that, I don't really have any new news on Eco Heroes. I know I got a few emails from a few businesses today that I haven't looked at yet, but hopefully it will be more donations. That's all I have.
Something else just crossed my mind that came up at the MC Iris meeting that's relevant both to both of the quarter and the Eco Heroes. Yeah, I think so. The light's on. Oh, I wasn't speaking towards it, I guess. MC Iris is going to have a table at the annual seed thing at the Armory. And I'm planning on volunteering Saturday morning. I think it's the first Saturday in April. So I'm planning on volunteering there at the table. And so maybe having some materials about both Eco Heroes as well as the wildlife corridor might be a thought.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like a great idea. We can definitely print out the brochures ahead of time for the connectivity plan. Would it be April 1st, this event?
Sorry?
Is it April 1st, the event?
I think it's the first Saturday in April.
Does anyone know if that's the first or second? No.
No idea.
Well, regardless, we can also print out more flyers, and we can give those to you if you're willing to hand them out then. And I'm not sure. Yes, Matt? It's the second, okay. Yeah, so that's before Eco Heroes, so that's good news. Before the students have to turn in their artwork. So we can definitely give you those materials if you're willing to hand those out during that event. We can coordinate, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So I think also as a part of Eco Heroes specifics, we need to talk about judging and who is in for that, because that's going to happen when the submissions come in on April 8th, and the event itself is just 2 days after our April meeting. It's going to happen before we meet again. So I think we should leave this meeting today with an idea of who wants to participate in the judging, and also who's able to volunteer for kind of set up, tear down type of stuff at the event.
Okay. Well, do we just want to raise hands in this room, see who wants to volunteer for that? And then I can go through the members online and ask you individually after that. So the folks in this room, do you want to raise your hand, whoever's interested to be a judge for the Eco Heroes contest? Just so we can make a quick list for that. Megan, Matt, me, Don. Cool. And then Tadamia, Luke, and Carrie. Actually, I should go one by one. Tadamia, are you interested in that? Yes. Okay. And then Luke?
Yes.
Thank you, but I don't think I will.
Okay. And then Carrie?
Yes, I would be happy to.
Great. So we have that. Is there any other details that we want to go over? Do we have any other details about EcoHeroes that we want to review before we move on?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that's probably good. We can figure out event day volunteers by email.
great. Yeah, I think we're in a good spot for that. So now we can move on to new business, and the first item for that is a discussion regarding the air quality working group and just working groups in general. So we can start that off with talking about the air quality working group. And Ben, I know that you have done a little bit of preliminary work just by yourself, doing some air quality monitoring. If you could just give us like a quick summary of that, and then we can just have a discussion about forming a working group and just get some thoughts from you guys on that.
Yeah, so we have a device called the Flow 2, which measures VOC levels, particulate matter levels to 2.5, 10, and I think that's as low as it gets. And then also NO2 levels. So I've been basically going around to 5 different sites once a month and measuring the levels of, measuring the air quality in those areas that Linda and I had predetermined as good areas to be measuring. I believe we added 5 new locations to test out about 2 months ago, and I've yet to visit them. But for the months of November, December, January, I was going out and testing the air quality in those 5 locations that we had already picked out. Considering that my time is ending in May, I think it will be a good idea if I kind of write out an instruction list on how to use the Flow 2 and also make a general account on the app because it's under my name at the moment, and I can make it under just a general SPIA intern password and username, and we can hopefully transition smoothly to the next SPIA volunteer or intern next year. I'll try to go out one more time as well and check out those 10 sites, and I don't know if it's a good idea, but I can try to make a map and make a GIS or use GIS and put points and distribute that to all of you before my time is up, so that you guys can have a general idea of where we're testing and if you think there are better ideas or better locations to be testing other than the ones that we've already determined.
Great. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see the testing locations that you've been going to and just the data that you've produced from that. Dave, you want to go ahead?
So if it's a working group of one person or what? How does one get into this working group? Because I would like to be a member of it.
So that's what we're talking. I think we need to make a working group today. I was just kind of giving you a brief update of what I was thinking was the plan. So
I see. I'm a friend of an air chemist in SPIA, and I think he sometimes measures things in Bloomington too. So it'll be. I just turned 80 and I don't remember names well, but I'll get in touch with him and see what he's measuring in Bloomington.
Absolutely, Dave. And that's exactly what we're doing here today, is just talking about sort of creating the working group, which was partially inspired by what Ben was just doing independently before this. And I think it was Matt's brainchild, this idea. So what we can do before we talk about more details of the air quality working group, we can go ahead and get another hand vote in this room of who is preliminarily interested on serving on that board. So just want to go ahead, raise your hands. So we have Matt, me, Dave, and Don, and then I'll go through the online people. Dedamia? Luke?
Yeah, I'd be interested.
Okay. And then Carrie?
I'm going to pass on this one. so,
Okay.
No, thanks.
And then we can talk about, or go ahead, Matt.
I have a quick question for Linda. Do you know if it would be possible, whether it's within the city's budget or anything that we have a say in, to get stationary testers, like something we could leave at a location and constantly gather data?
It's conceivable. Ben and I have a meeting next week with the Planning and Transportation Director, and we will probably be discussing another monitor, and I don't know at this point what kind it would be. You know, we'll have to look into the cost, et cetera, but I know that he's open to getting another monitor. So I can't really answer your question now, except that it's possible.
Go ahead, Ben.
Just to add on to that, I'll try to send you all reports on the Flow 2. It is noted that it's not the most reliable device, so that's just something to keep in mind. And if we do want to push for another type of air monitor, we should definitely research it ahead of time. I think our meeting's on the 28th, so if people want to look into air monitors and prices and what we specifically want to measure, because the Flow 2 only measures, I think, 4 types of pollutants, and we want to only focus on one that maybe the Flow 2 doesn't measure, it would be a good idea to research that ahead of time, and so we can go in there with recommendations to Scott, and he can either say yes or no.
That's something we should specifically talk to the SPIA experts about.
Absolutely. Linda, do you know if there's like a general budget amount that we might be able to keep in mind when we're looking at air quality monitors?
No, I don't at this point.
Okay, that's fine. And then Dave, to touch on what you mentioned about getting some expertise from SPIA for this group, I really agree with that, and that's something that I've been thinking about as well, and some other people has mentioned to me as well that there's some air quality experts at IU. Probably the same people you're speaking about. So.
The Flow 2 is about $200, so
Okay.
keep that in mind.
Well, one of the things that I would be interested in finding out is the change in air quality that since Indiana University switched from burning coal. I mean, I came here in 1974, and I used to, from my window, I used to see the black plume heading downwind from the power plant. And remember when the US Air pilot reported us to Indiana University's smoke plume to the EPA because of the, it sort of looked like they were burning tires instead of coal. But, and we used to live downwind from the power plant, and when I cleaned my gutters, there was an amazing amount of coal ash in my gutters, and I suspect I know where it came from. But it'd be interesting to see how different the changeover from burning coal to natural gas. And also you've had a change in the industrial activity. We've lost GE, RCA, Westinghouse, ABB. Our industrial sector is quite different than what it was nearly 50 years ago. So it'd be interesting to notice what changes in our air quality may have taken place. So if we can find any old records to compare, we should, kind of glean through them and kind of think, what might be the problems that we have today? So.
Yeah, I just want to say that I don't believe the DNR has any air quality monitors in Bloomington besides one that measures, I think, CO2 levels. That's near Binford Elementary School. So I don't know if we would have any data on that from the school.
Do we know if IDEM has any jurisdiction or data on that?
Sorry, that's what I meant, not
Okay.
the DNR. Yeah.
Cool. So IDEM. Yeah, that will be really interesting to see that information as well. And then, Dave, I wanted to ask you if you wanted to mention that person's name from SPIA that we could contact.
I'll have to look it up.
Okay. And then I guess we could do something like a doodle poll to figure out through email, like what meeting times work best with people. Do you think that's a good idea?
When to meet, okay, because I don't think the city has a doodle poll and you have to pay for that.
Okay.
So
Yeah, something like that. So I can arrange that if that works out. And then, do we have any other just thoughts on the air quality working group before we talk about other working groups? Okay. And then, I wanted to expand the discussion a little bit onto the biodiversity and outreach working groups. I want to talk about if it's a good idea for us to maybe meet regularly again with these two groups, or if people just had other ideas about if we should table that for a while and just focus on eco-heroes and letting the connectivity plan just play out for a little bit more.
One other thing to bring up about the BCOS, they do have a waste working group, but there was no news activity apparently during the last month. But waste, of course, is another major, it's one of my favorite concerns. But doesn't seem like there's a lot of, that group, I guess, DeVita is somehow involved with a group that's sort of becoming like an MC Iris of picking up waste and trying to reduce waste and plastic pollution, et cetera. So.
Thank you, Don. Linda, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah, let's start off. Okay, I would recommend that the biodiversity group meet a couple times coming up sometime soon before Ben gives his presentation to the council. I think that it would be best if the whole group met in order to go over the first phase of the plan and then the pledge and the map and everything, so everybody knows what's going on and can offer ideas about, how we actually kick it off.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. Ben, when are you meeting with them again?
We don't have the date on the books right now.
Okay.
But most likely in the months of April or May.
Okay. That's something else then that we can send out a when to meet poll through email for that. Does that work out for everybody? Great.
Mike, did you have a comment?
Not really. It was just kind of a general observation that the working groups are only valuable as long as we have something for them to do. And We can have a group be dormant until something comes up, and then we can always create more groups, ad hoc groups, as the need arises. But there's no reason why they have to meet if they have nothing to do, it seems to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. So having said that, say for now, the outreach working group, I don't know if we have a lot of material to really go over. So we'll just kind of let that be tabled for now. So that's it for agenda item A under new business. We can now move on to Linda's letter of support for the ban on polypropylene erosion turf netting. Did you want to talk about that, Linda?
Well, I only sent it out to the EC this morning, so I doubt that everyone's had a chance to look at it. A couple people have, but since it's a letter coming from you all, I really want you all to read it and make sure it says what you want it to say. Yes, Dave?
Yeah, I just got around to reading it tonight, and there's one sentence that seems to say exactly the opposite of what is true, depending on how you read it. It says they are not biodegradable, which means they break down into elements found in nature. I think it should say they are not biodegradable, which means that they do not break down into elements found in nature. Because you could read it either way, and I think you can make it more specific by adding that they do not break down.
Thanks, Dave. Well, would you mind sending me that in an email tomorrow?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so it would be good too if everyone else on the commission could just read through that and just respond to Linda if you have any thoughts about it. So, including me, I need to read through it today as well. So, thank you for that, Linda. About the letter, do we just want to, read that online, and then can we vote by email, or do we have to wait till next meeting?
We can't vote by email. We'll
Yeah.
wait till next meeting, but
Okay.
there's no hurry on it.
Okay.
There's no
Okay.
action being taken right now, so there's no hurry.
Okay, so let's all just make it a good point to respond to that so that we're ready to possibly make a move on that next month. The next point is just having a general discussion on the Novak report regarding the city's boards and commissions, specifically what is slated for the EC. I just wanted to open up the floor to anybody who just has anything to say about that or has anything to discuss about that.
Do we have any updates on it?
No, I don't. A couple of, the liaison to BCOS and myself reached out to the administration, and their discussions with the council indicate that there's nothing moving forward right now. So we're on hold.
Okay. Thanks for that update. And then from what I got from speaking with one of the council members as well as seems like they're also just generally interested in getting more information before anything like that. So that is it for new business, and we'll move on now to commissioner announcements. Do any commissioners have an announcement? Dave?
Actually, I have two. A recent edition of Bloom magazine, it was the one with the picture of the new president on the front, I think, had an article on something called COCO-RAS, which stands for Community Collaborative Rain, Hail, and Snow Network. And what this asks you to do, and I've signed up to do it, is
There you go.
special kind of rain gauge. They cost, with shipping, about $50. So you'd need to have a place where you could put that. And then they want you every day to report online the amount of rain, snow, or hail, even if there is none. And it sounds like a fun thing to do, and it's helpful to the National Weather Service, to people who are worried about floods, and there's a whole set of people that would benefit from it. So if anybody wants more information, you can email me and I'll send you what I know. But it's also just COCORHAS.org. So it's easy to get to if you want to go there online.
I'd like to add to David's comment. I've known Cheryl Munson for 40 years, maybe. And Cheryl and the county is also very, last year's flood, the damage to county roads, the loss of life here in Bloomington, the amount of getting a good representative idea of Monroe County's actual flood or rain totals was quite variable, but in order to really have probably thinking in terms of a science point of view, having a more broad-based number of sampling locations. I mean, David's not that far from my house, but that was a real issue with the county commissioners as far as apparently having, being able to get good data, and the number of reporting stations was relatively few, and the official airport instrument, I think, failed during the event, and it has periodically been out of line every now and then. So this is a really good idea.
Okay, the second thing I wanted to mention is some years back, probably a couple years before COVID, certainly, I was meeting with a bunch of local farmers, and they went up to a place in Wisconsin that called itself a farm stop and learned how it worked. And I've gotten off that committee, but they have now formed a local farm stop, which brings together, I think, 30 or 40 or more local farmers who sell things there. And this is located on West Kirkwood, about 2 blocks beyond Juanita's colorful restaurant.
Rose Hill?
Rose Hill Farm Stop. And they're located in what used to be an appliance store. And you can go there and buy various kinds of fresh groceries and soaps, and they have a coffee shop, and I'd recommend it to you all to support local farmers.
I have to second Dave on that one too. I've been there quite a few times, and I really like that place. So, does anyone online have any commissioner announcements? Okay. So then we are ready to adjourn the meeting. So thank you, everybody.